have to really pay attention to values here. Values really do drive us. Values do help us with our sense of fulfillment, our sense of purpose, our sense of meaning in life. Fear shouldn't be the determining factor for decisions that we make. You know, I've worked with people who are in relationships and deep down they know it's not right, but fear of being alone guides them to stay.
Society often understands endings as abrupt, as painful, as traumatic.
Betrayals.
Yeah, quite negative connotations to them. You don't often get to experience good endings in life.
We have a woman in her 30s. She's 35 years old and she has recently broken up with her ex. She says, "We were together for 5 years. I ended it as he told me that he didn't want kids, whereas I do. I very much loved him and still do. I wonder if I've made a mistake here in ending what was a good relationship with no prospects in sight. I don't want to end up childless and single in my later years. What should I do?" What's coming to mind for you?
So many things. I feel like I could talk about this one for ages. Okay, I'm going to start with this idea that she's made a decision. And I think that firstly she's looking at this as a right or a wrong decision, that there's just two outcomes here. And I think there can be multiple outcomes to it. But I think the most important thing to think about with outcomes and this idea of like a right decision is sometimes we place emphasis on, well, if I'm going to make the right decision, then surely the outcome is going to be perfect almost straight away. And I think what she's almost left with is, I've made the decision, but I'm left with less than what I started with.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a child, even though I wanted children and I've left him because I want children. Well, actually, I don't have children and I don't have a relationship now.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually what I'm hearing in all of it is, I think she wants validation.
Yeah. I think so too. Validation that she's not made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to really pay attention to values here. I know we talk about it a lot in our work and on this podcast, that, you know, values really do drive us. Values do help us with our sense of fulfillment, our sense of purpose, our sense of meaning in life. And to deny something that is really important to her, which is family, to deny herself of that would mean living an inauthentic life. And I think that is a really hard thing to do, day in, day out, to make the choice to live inauthentically. But on some level, it's an easier choice. It's an easier choice to kind of go with the status quo, to not upset the apple cart.
Well, this is that like difference between short-term gains and long-term gains. You know, often, why do we pick the things that we know that aren't very good for us? Because in the short term, it's familiar, it's easier, it feels good.
Yeah.
Whereas the long term, we don't know if we'll ever get there.
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
We haven't felt it yet. It doesn't feel familiar. So we often go back to things that aren't necessarily ideal for us, or we know, like we have that gut instinct, I don't think this is right for me, but I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And coming back, I think, to values, you know, we have these 9 domains of what our values are in our life. It's, you know, relationships, intimate relationships, family, career, education, spirituality, community, friendship,
education. Did I say that?
I think there's one more. We'll come back to it, I'm sure. We'll remember it. And that they're all different domains, and at different points those domains can mean different things, but we use them as a compass of that's where we want to go in that direction. So I feel like the fact that she has that value and she wants to go in that direction is already, you know, telling her that probably, yes, although you value relationships, your relationship still maybe needs to overlap with the family element of your value. And if you're not getting that, is this going to fulfill you long term.
And what I like about this, even though she is wondering if she's made the right decision for her, I like that she has made a decision.
I like it too.
Yeah, and she has moved forward, even though it is difficult and painful. And as you say, we can make the best choice for us in the moment, and immediately it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Immediately it feels bad.
Yeah.
It feels bad. Like, she still loves her partner, and I'm sure her partner still loves her. So I just want to commend this woman on making such a brave and courageous decision, and to continue to move forward with that. And I think that fear, again, we've spoken about fear in this episode, but fear shouldn't be the determining factor for the decisions that we make. You know, I've worked with people who are in relationships and deep down they know it's not right, but fear of being alone guides them to stay. And I think, well, maybe what is the thing that you would want to live with? Regret? Fear? You know, what is going to hold you back? What is going to propel you forward? And I like the fact that she's moving forward with thinking about actually what she wants. And she's moving forward to hope.
Yeah.
And she's taken a risk, because there are no certainties in this life.
Well, and I think that, you know, I love that word hope, because I think that hope can help her to tolerate the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because there is no guarantees that just because you've broken up with him doesn't mean that you will get a partner and have children. Like, there are no guarantees in life. But I hope that, I really like that word of hope. I hope that she can hold on to that, like use that as a candle through uncertain, because you know, when things are uncertain, it can feel really dark.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. It can feel lonely. You just feel like you're fumbling, like, where am I going? Where is this leading to? It doesn't feel right. I want to go back. Yeah, maybe we weren't, you know, wanting the same things, but I want to go back to him. It feels safe. It feels familiar. Like, at least I had certainty with him.
Yeah.
Might not be the certainty I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to have children, but at least I had some sort of certainty.
And that's, again, like fear. Something is better than nothing, so I'll stay. So yeah, I just really want to commend you on making this really brave decision to move towards something that is meaningful, important, and something that you place great emphasis on. And I think to maybe, not saying this is the case, but maybe to have stayed, you would be giving up part of yourself to stay. And I don't know if love should feel like that.
I feel like love...
Or has to look like that.
Yeah, I feel like there are different types of compromises to be made in relationships. But it doesn't sound like she wants to compromise on that one.
No.
So if you know that you don't, and, you know, you can have authority when you say that, then you deserve that.
Yeah. And
you are worthy of that.
And vice versa. If someone can also stand, you know, 10 toes down and say, I don't want that, they also can lean with that and move forward with clarity.
And that's one other thing I wanted to come back to, that, you know, sometimes I think we think relationships we need to end because we don't love each other anymore. And I think actually what she has created here, and we talk about this a lot in therapy, don't we, is good endings.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We often understand endings, or I think society often understands endings as abrupt, as painful, as traumatic.
Betrayals.
Like quite negative connotations to them. You don't often get to experience good endings in life, but I think what she and her ex-partner have created is a good ending. They still love each other. I think that's really beautiful, that you can walk away from a relationship and say, I still love you. Yeah, I still love you too. We just don't want the same thing.
We're not going in the same direction.
We're not going in the same direction. Our compasses are just not aligning.
Yeah.
They're not aligning right now.
Yeah.
And I think she should be so proud of that. So proud of creating a good, and it might not feel happy right now.
Yeah.
but a good ending that can lead to happiness for her.
Yeah.
Should we talk a bit more about good endings?
Yeah, good endings. Good endings in therapy. I mean, I've had good endings with couples who have uncoupled, consciously uncoupled.
Tell us more.
Either they knew this coming into therapy, or we discovered it in the course of therapy that it was time for an ending and a considered ending. It wasn't easy. It wasn't a pleasant experience. I mean, sometimes it's a beautiful experience, even though painful. But yeah, a couple realizing that, we are going in different directions, or this is no longer working for us and we are causing each other more harm than good, and actually choosing to see the good in the relationship and to honor the beauty and the love that they had, but realizing that it was time to move forward in a different direction. So that is one way of having a good ending in therapy. But another way that we have a good endings in therapy is between the client and therapist. And we really kind of encourage people to not have abrupt endings in therapy, even if they feel like, oh, this isn't working for me, or I'm done, everything's fine.
Or sometimes it's gone really well and then we don't hear from them.
Yeah. But it's so important to have a good ending, to have a marked space and time to process this journey, because I think endings represent, the coming to the end of a journey. So looking back on the journey, what has been great? What have we really cherished? What have we seen within each other? What have we found in this space? What have created? And to appreciate that, and also look at the things that, we had blips along the way, we had ruptures along the way, and hopefully overcame them. And we can wish each other well as we bring this relationship to an end. They're really important. I find endings so powerful and so moving in therapy.
I think so too. I feel them as one of the richest part of therapy. I feel that you're going to get so much vulnerability from the client. I feel like we bring so much vulnerability ourselves because we're sharing how we have experienced that client from where they've started to where they are finishing their journey with us. And our hopes and our wishes for them, and what they're taking with them. So I always also say to my clients, like, what do you want to leave with me? Now that you're going, what do you not need to no longer carry? What can I just hold for you? And
oh, that's nice.
And if you need to think about it later, you can always imagine yourself back in my room thinking about it with me. And then it can stays back in here. And
that's so lovely.
But it actually made me think, when she was saying this, coming back to this idea of validation, I wonder if she needs to give herself that validation, but maybe using a professional in the sense where if they know it's not going anywhere, but they maybe want to just have that conversation with an outside observer, like a couples therapist, so that they can have that, communication in a very safe way to be able to say our directions are no longer matching, but we still love each other. And it's still very intense, but it's time to say goodbye. And bring it some closure. I would suggest maybe her trying that. If her ex-partner is also on board to do that, depending on, how he's left and how he's feeling.
And maybe even if he doesn't want to, maybe she could access some support to kind of process this herself and to grieve. I think she's grieving the loss of a relationship, which is fair. My friend told me this beautiful quote. I can't remember if she made it up or someone told her, but that grief is the price we pay for love. And yes, it's right, isn't it powerful?
Oh my God, that really touched me.
I know, yeah. And isn't it a beautiful cost, actually? It makes sense that we pay that price for loving someone. And I think it's a price that we would pay time and time and again for loving someone. So I think that her even processing the grieving of what has been a loving relationship will be really important.
I think that's such a big part of it, isn't it? It's grieving the loss of something that you loved.
Yeah.
Something that you still love.
Yeah.
That you're saying goodbye to.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you say goodbye?
Yeah. Oh. And also, I just want to say that this is another aspect of therapy, which I think is really important in saying goodbye and having a planned ending. I think some people want to hang on, in therapy. So I may have people that, you know, I saw weekly, then we've moved to fortnightly, then we moved to monthly. And actually there comes a point, for some people actually that's very fine. And they use it as like an MOT and having a regular check-in. But for some people it's actually good that we end. So they realise that, no, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, they've got that autonomy now.
I've got this, and I can trust what we've done together to carry me through. Maybe I may come back in future, but actually we can end now. And for some people I will actually say, we could carry on, but I actually think it would be good for you to end, for us to end.
Yeah.
And that also can be really good.
Yeah, and that's why I was also saying you get the other side of it where it's going really, really, really well, and then somebody just can't face the ending.
Yeah.
It's just too
painful.
They've probably had a lot of difficult endings in their life that they can't imagine an ending being a good one. A one that's painful but still good.
Yeah.
And if that resonates with you, I want you to know you can. You can have that. You can prepare for that. You deserve that.
Yeah.
You know, the power of and is so powerful. That's something, you can love something and it cannot be.
Yeah, an and
right
and.
Now. Yeah, an and.
I had a supervisor, love her. Oh, and I had to say goodbye. That was really hard, saying goodbye to her. We both cried. But she would always famously say, it's an and. I know some people say it's an and or, but I like her phrase.
I like that one.
It's an and.
And.
Yeah.